So a lot of you guys have been asking, where did I go to college at? I didn't go to college. This was my college here in the shop. So for those that don't know, I'm dyslexic, okay? And for the longest time when I was growing up, I always thought it was such a curse, and yet was the most beneficial thing a part of my life. I'm very grateful to have it. When I graduated high school, I could barely read a 4-letter word. Right now, if you ask me to read a book to my daughter would probably tell me to go get mommy and have her read it. That says something. Not saying that I can't read, and I can read some, but it's not that great. That being said, I grew up with I had a fear that I wasn't going to be able to do what my dad does. Look at what he does. He farms, he does, he fixes things, he does bookwork, he does, all these talents and gifts that he had. And I was like, there's no way that I can do that. And I felt like I was a failure growing up. And this isn't a sympathy like, woe is me. I'm just telling you what I experienced growing up. But what set me aside was I realized that I can do things with my hands. So I started applying myself. Even though I lacked in many other areas, I started applying myself here in the shop. I started fixing things, doing things that would try to benefit the farm. And I had a desire to create and design and build, and I did not do a very good job. I was pretty bad at it, to be honest. But the thing is, I didn't stop. I didn't let that fear overcome me. Today, I'm very grateful for being dyslexic, because I had something that made me feel like I wasn't smart enough. And I didn't let that overcome me. I am smart in my own way. But the thing is, I apply myself. Not saying I'm good at everything. I'm not that great at a lot of things, but I know that I can apply myself to benefit the farm, benefit my family, benefit my just the things that are happening in this future. Like, there's just so much going on that I can be a part of and play my role. And just so you guys know, this whole shop here, everything we have here wasn't this way when I started learning this stuff. The only shop we had was just this section right here. And we only had like 2 toolboxes right here, a few tools there. We had a welder, a press, a torch. Didn't even hardly have a table like this. It was like a tiny little 2x2 table. And the rest of that was just all storage, junk pieces, things there that was kept over. And I remember coming in here and learning on the simplest tools, and I would take a vehicle, put it on jack stands and make sure it's secure, and I'd pull a transmission out by myself, put it on my chest, roll it off the side, and put it back up in with my legs and arms. And so doing all those projects in here with very little. So I hope you take this as encouraging to not think that you can't do something, or I don't have the right stuff, or just whatever's stopping you. And it doesn't have to be about mechanics, it doesn't have to be about farming, it doesn't have to. I'm talking about what is stopping you from succeeding, to becoming everything that you can be. It's a good question. All right, we have that little piece that I made on the lathe, that little piece I made on the lathe, that little piece that I cleaned up on the lathe and bought at a store, and this piece. Let's weld it up.
Moment of truth. See if this works. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Sweet. It works. Everything seems to be running fairly smooth. I still have to fab up the hopper right here for the chute that goes to all the cracked peas and oats and so forth. Okay. And then back here, need to make a pan to catch all this stuff right there, so that'll be pretty easy to do. But road's pretty smooth. Good deal. Okay. Now the next step.
Few updates. I've been working on this thing. Fenders are on, still need some little bit of fine tuning on there to make it look a little nicer. Tail lights are mostly on. I put some angle iron on the top. I just figured step there. And they're on there, and I rather have them step on the keep angle iron than the tail light. This is interesting. So this thing has three spots where product comes out. This is your clean seed. This is the important stuff that comes out. This right here used to be the large material from the top screen. So this is like rocks, maybe some large peas, mostly stuff you don't want. Well, it was going out on this side. Well, what do you do with it over here? We had a bucket for a while, and that's a pain to keep filling buckets. And then this side over here was the small stuff, like the junk, the little trash, the chaff, the oats, you know, little things. Splits, a lot of splits. And the whole point of what we're doing here is we're having that auger that's going to take that all the way to the front, which is combined with the air cleaner, then take another auger, which will let you put it in a truck or something. This will be quite a bit of material of that. So we're like, well, why don't we just reverse it? So we took this apart, cut the inside, reversed it. So now it flows this way for the large material. So they both come out right here. And then I got to build a hopper pan to catch them. So they'll run down. I'll probably have a flexible hose of some type that'll just drop in here. And then they'll just feed this 4-inch auger, which will then go all the way up to the front. They'll all be together. And if you ever wanted to separate it, you can, because you can put a hose on here, run it over something else, and separate it. So, but for what we're doing, that was the best thing. So let's build a hopper pan and see if we can make it work. Well, looks good, I think. I used all the scrap pieces I could find laying around the bench and on the floor. And this 16th gauge iron is not easy to weld on without punching through. But I think I got it where I want it. It's gonna do what it needs. Just gotta grind on a little bit, clean up some of these edges, and then put it on there. And that way it'll catch all the stuff coming out of that scalper into here. Now this thing, when it shakes, you know, it really moves around. So some, what is it? Some dryer vent tubing. Works perfect for directing that in there. And then you can take your hand with everything turned off. You can go in here and grab a sample and see what's coming out of there, so you know. So that way at least you can, or you can sit here and visually look and see how much of the splits are coming out of the one, how much of the rocks and large pieces are coming out of the other, and then you can make adjustments accordingly from there.
What is the status on this right now? Well, it's not finished, that's for sure. Things are going slow, but to do it correctly, things take time. At least we're trying to do it correctly. We want to be able to just pull this out of the building, clean our seed, put it right back in. Or if other people use it, it's easy for them and not a pain in the butt. So here's the thing things that I need to do. I can't finish those hoppers, I can't finish the baffle in this unit until I have this 6-inch auger that goes from right here up to that hopper. I gotta have that mounted. Then I know how to make the chute and everything go into that one, and then I can finish the one on this side. But here's the dilemma. We ordered a 6-inch AGI auger, and it's on its way, except for it's stuck in Fargo, North Dakota. So I wonder what Nick would think if I took that one off and cut it up and mounted it on the other side. And then we just get the new one when we get it and we replace that one. But then that way I can keep moving forward and keep working on it. You know, I think this is one of those times I'm just gonna do and ask for forgiveness later and see what he says. He hasn't said anything yet, so I think I'm in the clear, guys. He's walking away very quietly though. Anyways, now we gotta figure out the length of this and chop it and then put it up there and try to figure out how much more we need to chop if we didn't get it chopped right. And just a little bit of fabbing.
That's become kind of a one-man job back there. I'll be in the area in case he needs me to help on the cleaner, but I'm gonna go ahead and jump on this thing. So there is more to do. Yeah, who thought? The front axle on this, the bushings are wore out. When I jacked this up to work on this front hub here, I watched the whole axle drop like probably almost a ½ inch. So that's wore. There might be more in there that I'm not expecting. But to get at that, we got the bushings. To get at that though, we gotta get this loader off because the mount in the front that cradles the loader is in the way of the pin to get the bushings out. So I gotta take this loader back, suspend it probably with the crane up here, back the tractor up just enough to get this pipe out from this cradle. Then I can take the front assembly off, this loader assembly, unbolt that whole thing, which probably weighs a bunch, pull that on the ground, and then I can get to the axle, jack the tractor up, and then get the pin out to look inside and see those bushings, and then hopefully it's simple to replace. So let's move this thing around and get things set up and see how far I get before I have to ask for, you know, Dad's help.
There we go. Auger's put on. Now the flighting's not in there, and I'll keep that out for a little bit anyways, because I've got to cut out the opening down here that I want for the chute to come down, and I got to figure out all that stuff. And I'm gonna get some pointers from Nick and my pops, because extra minds thinking together help make things happen easier, hopefully. So anyways, let's get back to work.
Now I've got some bolts on here that have been on here a long time, and they're pretty big, and they're probably gonna be a little bit of a brute to get off. And we have this M18 Milwaukee fuel. Love this thing, we use it all the time, 3/4, it's amazing. But we had the opportunity to upgrade to another one, which I'm so excited about because it means no more 3/4 inch airlines running all over the place. But this bad boy, I'm excited to try this thing out. So let's open it up. It's gonna be way overkill for what we're doing here, but I have nothing else to use it on, and I'm just eager to open this thing and put it to use. So charge the batteries and make it work. Overkill, I know, but it's fun. All right, let's back her up. Just need about yay much space. Yay much space.
Yay much space.
Here.
I said yay must, I didn't say it right.
Yay much space.
I don't even know what that means. Hey, wait, I'm sorry.
I said yay much space.
Is that like Dutch?
Yeah.
I think he lies.
Is that yay much space?
Jemer Hammerschmidt.
Now to hold this heavy bracket up down here, I'm just gonna take this cherry picker. I'm gonna lift its legs up. I'm just gonna put it on top with a boom bucket, whatever that is, that big pipe there. Shove it up front, and then put the chain across, lift it up. It'll be pretty solid there. All right, that thing's chained up and ratchet straps to the bucket. So bucket, boom, loader. So that way it won't fall down on me when I'm down there. And here's the part that we have to take that off for. Literally like a 1/2 inch of iron that was in the way, but this little bit of iron here, just like, I might even cut out the torch, was covering like this much of this pin. So to get that pin out, I had to take that part off, but it's off. We can get out the pin now. So let's jack the tractor up and start taking the pin out. I just realized I'm gonna have a problem. That pin has to come out this way, obviously, and it is longer than the gap I have right here. So I gotta take this bracket and lift it up as high as I can get it so I can have enough room to get that pin out. And the loader's in the way. And I can't back the tractor up anymore because the hydraulic lines to the loader are tight, so they'd all have to be taken off. So I think I got enough room here. I can lift this up between the loader and front grill of the Magnum. So let's see if we can do that. I went ahead and put a bar, piece of square tubing that's pretty heavy, between the frame of the loader across, and then I just use this heavy ratchet strap and ratchet it to it. So that way, if this cherry picker fails, it's still not coming down on me. Got it. All right. Let's take a look at this thing. Here's a bench. It could just be the grease grooves that I was feeling, but so yeah, it's wore right there. All this whole spot right here is wore in because this side here is smooth all the way across. That's the grease groove they cut. How's this one? Not as bad, but It's wore too. Now, I suppose, let's say you could rotate the pin, flip it 180 degrees, but it's still gonna wear. The weight will then wear on the other side, but there still will be a little slop, and I suppose that would cause premature wear in the new bushings we're gonna put in. So I think we're gonna need to have a shaft made and her pin. And I don't think we're gonna be able to do that here because you're gonna need a really long drill bit to drill through to put those greasings in. So, unless it goes all the way through, I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm thinking while I'm talking here. No, you won't need a long drill bit because you only gotta drill into the first grease groove, and then you gotta drill horizontally into it to tap into the original hole. So no, we have bits long enough we could drill in that far and then tap in the side. So technically we could make one of these pins if we had the right iron. It'd easy to be put in the lathe and cut those grooves out, cut the size. So I'll talk to Leg Arms about that. But that's really half of our problem. The other half is what's still left in this axle. So I gotta try to square up this axle, lock it up so it doesn't tip either way. It's still got the driveline attached to it, a bunch of other stuff that I don't want to bend. And then we got to lift the tractor up even higher to get access to where those bushings are so we can push them out. I didn't like the way the jack was in the front here because with the jack there, you can't get to that bushing. But it's right there, you can see. So I got to punch that one out and the one on the back side. I built a little base, got the jack in place. So now I'm just going to put a long bar all the way through and see if I can tap out the bushing in the back end and then go the vice versa and push on this side and see if we can tap that one out. And then we gotta get a pin. So I don't know, we're talking about making one. The only downside is to know exactly what grade of iron that is that's used for that. Went online and it's like $1,000 for a new pin. I know we can have one made for probably 200 bucks at a local machine shop. We can easily make one ourselves. We just gotta get our hands on the right type of iron. So we might take it somewhere and have them look at it and they can do a test, find out what kind of iron it is, and then get some bar stock ordered and make one, easy. Well, when in doubt, bring on the heat. I'm honestly not sure why we don't just start with the torch the first place every time. I know, you think you can get away with it. I can get it out with a hammer. I can get it out with an air chisel. All right, bushings are in. So I'll take that shaft down to a machine shop and they can find out what type of steel that is and make a new one for us. And then take those down too, just in case they need them for checking something. Now that's done, we'll throw it back together again. And that should be the last of the main Magnum repairs, but we do have some upgrades coming for this thing. Difference between repairs and upgrades. The upgrades are gonna be nice though. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But I'm gonna get back to this, with this guy.
So we have the two baffles in there, well actually hoppers I should say. I just have to lay one more piece here, cut that out, figure out what I need to do, and then weld that up. And then we'll plate this end. I need to cut out the window on the other side. And then this hole here is probably not gonna be big enough. I'll cut it out bigger, but yeah, looking good, I guess. We're that much closer to being done. Like yeah, we're close.